You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back!
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Hello, everybody. It's a Thursday night. It's the 16th of April. I'm sitting here at my normal desk, my normal seat at my usual desk. And, I don't know. It's been a tiring week. And it's been a particularly bad week for just being on the internet. I've seen so many things that have angered me. And it makes me want to bring up, I don't know when we do it. Maybe we do it on Monday. What is Monday? Is that 420? Yeah, that's a happy enough day. 420, is that the day that we talk about vigilante justice again? And not only that, and I understand the constitutional limitations, from a constitutional sense on cruel and unusual punishment, that a state punishment should not be cruel and unusual. But does that mean that cruel and unusual punishment is not warranted in some cases? Like when I see shit, I don't know, you guys, I don't even want to bring up some of the things I see. That FedEx worker is one of them who killed the 7-year-old girl, kidnapped her, and made her last moments some of the most horrifying. And for that audio to be played for the jury, I didn't listen to it. I've just read enough about where I want it. There's the death penalty is not enough. And then I would think about, and I understand cruel and unusual punishment, that, you know, that being protected from that's something where it has to go both ways. You want to make sure that you can't, a tyrannical central power is not going out there and taking otherwise moral and righteous people and torturing them and punishing them in some kind of crazy way because of, you know, an evil purpose. Though are we not kind of, you know, tormented and harassed and psychologically tortured? Is that not cruel, unusual torment and torture? Is the way that media operates not cruel and unusual torture and punishment? Oh my gosh. But when I see this fucking FedEx driver, it's not even. I'm very agitated right now. That pops up, other things pop up, and I just I don't trust the system to do things well enough. And you know what? A poison cocktail injection is just not good enough for a person like that. It's not good enough. And it's got to be public. It's got to be public. One hell of a way to start off a show. But that is just what's at the tip of is at the forefront of my mind and the tip of my tongue. And that's all I'm thinking about at the moment. Because I thought I had forgotten about it. And then, you know, I'm just going through the last minute scroll here, making sure I got everything in line. And then you see something that kind of pulls you off track. And I think that's I think that's why everybody's, maybe I have to contract. I have to contract. Maybe you do too. And perhaps some of you already do, in which case I'm jealous of you. That you just have to find focused and keep yourselves active on one or two places. You know where I should just stay focused? Where I should spend all of my time? Tumblr. I should go and dust off the Tumblr account, spend more time over there. Where there's really nobody there's still some old friends I have over there, but nobody hangs out there. Nothing. I'm not giving this bullshit. Every once in a while, some stupid anime art pops up in front of my in my dashboard, but mostly it's just all pictures of the night sky and jokes and history and interesting debates between people. Maybe I should just go there. Twitter is fucking hell. In particular, absolute hell. Holy shit. It is hell. But yeah, cruel and unusual punishment and vigilante justice. No, you have to let the law do its thing. Oh, do we? Oh, do we? Anyway, tonight we're going to have Shane Cashman coming back on the show. It's been a while since Shane was on. Of course, he is the author of the best-selling Joyless Kingdom, and I believe the other one is The Fucking Lunatic. Tales from the Inverted World, which became, he hosts the Inverted World podcast, which is featured on Rumble. You can find that there every night. And he's a staff writer over there at Timcast News, where he does most of his broadcast work on the compound over there, and is able to travel the country, talk to people like Alex Jones and Kanye West and Kerry Lake and all them. So he'll be back on tonight because when we first started talking about the earlier updates on the Long Island serial killer, it was with Shane. And now that we have another guy who needs to be torn limb from limb, fucking animal, the Rex Heuermann guy who pled guilty. Here it is right here. Hold on. Get that out of the way. Bring this on up. Rex Heuermann pleads guilty in Gilgo Beach killings. A Long Island architect who led a secret life as a serial killer pleaded guilty on Wednesday to murdering 7 women and admitted he killed an 8th in a string of long unsolved crimes known as the Gilgo Beach killings. Heuermann, 62 years old, entered the pleas in a courtroom packed with reporters, police, and victims' relatives, some of whom wept as he detailed his crimes. He will be sentenced in June to life in prison without possibility of parole. Again, life in prison without possibility of parole. Now, I don't know if somebody's going to get to him on the inside, but when I think about a guy 62 years old, there's a possibility that we could be paying for his meals in one way or another for at least another 20 years. At least another 20 years of meals and at least basic medical and everything else. And I'm just like, you wouldn't do this for a pit bull. You wouldn't do this for a German shepherd that went rabid. I don't know. Kill him. And you could remove his brain. We used to do cool things like that. Oh, we found a psychopath over here. Murdered X amount of people, did horrible things. Let's kill the bastard. And then let's remove his brain and see what's going on in there. Everything looks ship-shape. Put it into a little medical diary. Have people, watch the procedure. Very nice. Heuermann's guilty pleas to 3 counts of first-degree murder and 4 of intentional murder. First-degree murder and 4 of intentional murder. Well, I'm going to have somebody tell me the difference between that, or I'll Google search it. Bring finality to a case that bedeviled investigators, tormented victims' relatives, and tantalized true crime-obsessed public for years. Although he wasn't charged in her death, he also admitted that he killed Karen Vergata in 1996. Imagine that. Just decades of just murdering people and throwing them in a swamp. Under questioning by Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney, Heuermann admitted that he strangled all 8 victims and dismembered some of them, that he used burner phones to contact them, and that he wrapped their bodies in burlap before dumping them. Wearing a black suit coat and white button-down shirt, Heuermann appeared matter-of-fact and unemotional as he answered questions from Tierney and the judge. He never looked back at the packed courtroom gallery, keeping his gaze fixed straight ahead. The women, many of them sex workers, were killed over a 17-year span and buried in remote locations, including a long and isolated beach highway across the bay from where he lived, authorities said. So, I mean, good God. New York used to have the electric chair. You used to just send somebody right up to Ossining, to Sing Sing, and you got your fucking brains fried out. We used to have some sense. Got fried. Crispy critters. And that's not the case. That's not the case anymore. So we finally have that all going on. Just incredible. As part of his guilty plea, Heuermann agreed to cooperate fully with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. The case began in earnest in 2010 after police found numerous sets of human remains while searching for a missing woman, Shannon Gilbert, along Long Island's South Shore, setting off a search for a potential serial killer. And they got it. But there was other aspects of this that were really interesting. And, we were talking about this with the Zells as well. And I wonder how much farther it's going to go, because I remember, and I remember it. I remember we got to it, but I don't remember the details right now, that there was more here, that it connected NYPD and some kind of swinger scene or something like that. I forget about it all now. And there's something else about this, but we will see what Shane has to say when he shows up. The other thing we have to talk about is this. Now there's a 10th scientist. Missing nuclear official becomes 10th person to tie to dark pattern surrounding U.S. secrets. Another person with links to America's nuclear secrets has gone missing as the disturbing list of deaths and disappearances in recent years continues to grow. Steven Garcia, 48 years old, vanished without a trace on August 28, 2025. He was last seen leaving his Albuquerque, New Mexico home on foot, carrying only a handgun. An anonymous source told the Daily Mail that Garcia was a government contractor working for the Kansas City National Security Campus, a major facility in Albuquerque that plays a key behind-the-scenes role in America's national defense. Specifically, KCNSC manufactures more than 80% of all the non-nuclear components that go into building the military's nuclear weapons. Garcia allegedly served as a property custodian at KCNSC's New Mexico facility, giving him a top security clearance and broad access to the entire site's nuclear secrets. The source described Garcia's work as very high level, overseeing positions for all assets, tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment and assets, some of which are not classified, while others would be classified. The government contractor's sudden disappearance marks the 10th person with ties to America's space or nuclear secrets who has died or mysteriously vanished in recent years, putting U.S. national security experts on edge. Moreover, 4 of these officials have vanished without a trace in almost the same manner as Garcia, and all had connection to U.S. nuclear secrets or rocket technology. There's Steven Garcia. If you've seen him, please get in touch with somebody. Not me. Here's what it comes down to, though. And there's a quote here I want to make sure I got in from former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker. The Daily Mail has reached out to KCNSC and the U.S. Department of Energy, which owns and oversees the facility, to confirm Garcia's work at the site and for comment on his disappearance. According to police in Albuquerque, Garcia was last spotted on surveillance cameras walking out of his home on Cattell Court Southwest in green camouflage shirt and shorts just after 9 a.m. local time. He was also seen carrying a handgun, and authorities warned that Garcia may be a danger to himself. However, the anonymous source disputed any suggestions that the nuclear official may have been suicidal or was battling mental health issues. He was a very stable person, they declared, adding that the possibility of Garcia being a target of foreign spies makes the most sense. And this is where we have something that has gotten around lately, being repeated again here. Former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker previously told the Daily Mail, quote, "Our scientists have been targeted for a long time, especially in the rocket propulsion area, by hostile foreign intelligence services." It's a little strange that these people just keep disappearing. I mean, he literally just walked off into the desert with a firearm and a bottle of water, and that was it, the source said. This was one of the, comparing it to the disappearance of retired Air Force General William Neal McCasland, which that's all in here. That's all in here and more, and we're going to get around to it. We're going to get around to it one way or another. But first, we're going to bring on a guy I haven't seen in a while. I hope all is well with him. Shane Cashman. How the hell you doing, friend?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me well?
I could. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. It's good to be back on.
Oh, hold on. Let's see how we look side by side. Hold on a second. And boom. Wait. Boom. Hey, man.
I'm all red in the face. I was jumping on the trampoline with the children before running over to my doomsday bunker.
Well, that's okay. Is it as hot down there as it is up here today?
88 degrees.
Yeah, you know, we were close to 90 yesterday too, and a balmy one too. I can't wait to get the air conditioner in, but it's going to be 40 next week, so maybe not yet. No.
Who's controlling the weather machines right now? Because it's schizophrenic.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure you have some theories. I'd love to get into it sometime. Let's start with this real quick. What are your thoughts? Some people would say that okay, we got a guilty plea from Rex Heuermann, and not only did he plead guilty to 7 murders, but he actually volunteered a guilty plea for an 8th. Wrapping up, I don't hear anything about death penalty. I wouldn't expect anything as final and appropriate of a punishment as that. But is there any unanswered questions or anything that even this that you read in this story that is not being wrapped up as far as a loose end goes?
Everything.
Okay.
It was just the 10-year anniversary of the first time I ever published anything about the Long Island serial killer. I remember that because it happened to be published on the day I was married to my wife, and March 26th. And I've been following this for a decade plus, and kind of imagining what this person or people might look like. And I'll come back to that theory in a minute. But I was shocked when they had a suspect. He's been in jail for like 1,000 days now. But my theory was, while I was writing about this and while I got deeper into it after the world found out about this graveyard on Gilgo Beach, it seemed like there was a lot of people involved. I don't know if that means there's multiple serial killers or there's a lot of people just letting Rex get away with it. But the thing about Long Island and this specific area is there's multiple serial killers. John Bittrolf is right there, or was right there in Manorville. He was a construction worker. Rex Heuermann left one of his victims, parts of his victim, right down the road from John's house. That was always weird to me. So there's a lot of unanswered questions because I think there's a lot more bodies. And most people will tell you that there's probably a ton more, because there's more bodies that I don't think have been ID'd from Gilgo. One of them being like a tranny hooker that was also found near an infant, the body of an infant. So we don't know who they are or anything about them, who did it. But he pled guilty, and kind of surprising, but I think he did it knowing that he could get away with. I mean, they don't have death sentence. They don't have the death sentence in New York, right?
Well, I said we used to. I don't think maybe it's. I don't know if it's officially gone legislatively. It may.
I think it's gone. But he probably just wanted to get out of wherever he is now and set up, because he's been 1,000 days in like a temporary prison. Yeah, where they say he's been a quote unquote model citizen.
It was declared unconstitutional in 2004, by the way.
Okay. So I don't know what the reasoning is, because he pled guilty to 7. 3 of them, I believe it's 3 that are first degree and 4 that are second degree. They're all from Gilgo Beach, but one of them, I believe, was scattered around Long Island. And so the first degree would be he premeditated this for a long time. Second degree being he did plan on doing it, but they don't know to the degree to which he planned on doing it. So that's the difference there. And then he admitted to the 8th death, which I believe is one of the earlier ones. So, there's all these other bodies and parts that are scattered along Long Island, and that specific part of Long Island. Gilgo Beach is known as like the surf capital of the USA. Very popular beach for people to go to, for those who aren't familiar with Long Island. And we only discovered this story, I guess it was 2010, when they found the first body.
Yeah.
And then the next one, and all that good stuff. The other thing, there's so many different avenues to go down. The thing that's really bothersome to me is the hooker that went missing in May of 2010, Shannon Gilbert. That search party is eventually what led to finding these other bodies. And then they eventually found Shannon's body. Shannon is still not considered a victim of anything, they don't know what the heck killed Shannon. And the bizarre thing is, for the people out there who are into, and I'm sure most of your audience who are into like connecting these dots and being how strange and absurd all of this is, the person who, the forensic analyst, pathologist who looked at her body, he said the hyoid bone was broken, which is consistent with strangulation, which is what Rex Heuermann, who just pled guilty, said he strangled every one of these women. He said, so this guy said her hyoid bone's broken. This is the same guy. It's Michael Bott. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but he's the guy who looked at George Floyd's body. He was there for JFK's brain. He's kind of like this celebrity forensic pathologist.
Wasn't he also Epstein?
Yeah, he was Epstein.
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, because I remember that was the first time another very big report on the hyoid bone. That his hyoid bone was broken. He was definitely hung.
I talked to him. I messaged him. He called me right back. He's an older guy, and he's very. He might be some kind of Fed plant. I don't know what his deal is, but he told me he was very confident that Shannon was strangled. So it's just so weird to me that she was found in this serial killer's graveyard. No one knows who did it. They're not willing to say. But for years we didn't have a face to the killer, and through my decade of investigation, I'm pretty confident multiple people were involved. And this is just a theory. I'm not saying he's a part of it, but the chief of police out there, Burke, he was super corrupt, and he was definitely found out to be like hampering the investigation for years. No one knows why. And I did a deep dive on him, and I don't know if you remember this, but he's the guy who was, as a boy, he was in the woods in Long Island, had found a bunch of boys killing another boy and stuffing rocks in this boy's mouth. Horrible story. He testified against these boys. And I'm not saying, it's not like a Dexter moment, which is what I thought of initially, but he grows up to become a police officer. And then he grows up, and then he's found with a hooker in his squad car. And then he becomes sheriff or chief of police rather. And then his car is broken into by a young guy. This young guy steals sex toys, drugs, porno, I think like snuff films from the cop car. And then he beats him up. And then this chief of police goes to jail, gets out of jail, and is caught again by the police getting a prostitute in a park on Long Island. So that's just one of multiple examples of everyone surrounding this whole investigation. Cops, civilians, doctors, family members who got involved. It's super sketchy. And there's a ton of answers that I'd still like to get. Obviously, I don't find this as closure, but it's interesting because I think he might be a fall guy for a group of people that are operating in Long Island, because there's so many serial killers out there that have not been caught, I believe, and ones that have been caught.
I remember that's what was part of some of the early speculation about whether or not this is yet again another story about an entire town. Not that everybody in the town is involved in a kind of but there is almost like an unspoken kind of of subculture that is going on around there. And I remember like the early official flip-flopping on whether or not, like, it was a police commissioner out there first floated the idea that there could have been up to 3 killers, and then pivoted to it's probably just one.
Right.
And I don't know if having a communal dumping ground is something that supports there being one, or it being, because there's also, like you had said before, there is also differences in how these women were slain and how they were disposed of that would indicate a different kind of style from the animals who were doing it. So I don't know what you recall on that.
Yeah, I mean, from the other point of view, you could say that he changed his MO.
Yeah.
And it is just one guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. My gut says that there's multiple people. Another thing I'm basing that off of is, so Shannon Gilbert, her family had a lawyer. I don't like him. He's like this white dude with a ponytail and dresses like a pimp, and everything's for show. I just don't like his whole vibe. That said, he has had some very interesting press conferences with people who claim to be victims or who have been around the chief of police or people who they think are killers in this area. And they've said some things that are pretty nuts. I don't know. I can't fact check it. But it's multiple people saying the same thing, and that they've been to orgies in Gilgo Beach, and that chief of police was there, and other police officers, and, you know, other like kind of highfalutin people from the areas. It's a kind of rich community. So I don't know what that guy's deal is. I'd love to talk to that lawyer now. He's kind of cagey. And that family is just honestly suffered so much.
Yeah.
If you don't mind a quick detour, this is such a crazy part of that story. So Shannon's mom was Mary. And I talked to Mary briefly, trying to get an interview with her and the family. She put me in touch with the lawyer. And about a week later, I find out that Shannon Gilbert's sister stabbed her mom to death 200 times. I don't know if you remember that part of the story, but
No.
had a complete psychic break. And the sister stabbed the mom like 200 times. And then, sorry for everyone listening, this is insane, but smashed her head in with a fire extinguisher. And, you know, the story just kept finding me. At the time, like, I happen to live really close to where this all happened, which is far away from Long Island. And I knew the guy who was the nurse who took in the sister and put her in a straitjacket. So like, the story kept evolving and going crazy. So it's hard to get answers from the Gilbert family, rightfully so. You know, they've gone through so much. Shannon's death, now the mother, the sister's in a psych ward. She's completely insane, like just a mental break. So, you know, I'd love to talk to them more and the lawyer, but it's just like and that's just another one aspect of how insane this story is and how it's affected every family.
Let me ask you this, a very, very broad stroke and broad focus question, and is purely speculative as well. But since you spend a lot of time talking about the bizarre and investigating the macabre and all that stuff, what would you say? How many serial killers? I feel like, how many serial killers do you think we actually have? Forget about Long Island, that are just out there right now in general. I feel like we are a serial killer producing society. I feel like that's the kind of thing that we would produce most of these days. Things are so nuts. Yeah. And people have been pulled so far from what would be a central stabilizing reality or a view on reality and prospects in life. And then there's the chemical elements from pharmaceuticals to everything else. And I don't know, man, what do you how bad do you think it really is nationwide? Well, I know that this country votes in a lot of serial killers to go work at DC. Indeed.
And sign bombs, and they're psychotic. And that might then remind you of Ted Bundy, who was also in politics. But like the FBI, you know, not to use them as any credible source, but they do have a thing where, you know, you can go to their site about tracking serial killers state by state, and they'll tell you, like, there's just no way of knowing. We have so many bodies, and we don't know if it's like multiple people. I mean, this guy that we're talking about now, he's been doing this for decades. The ones that he had admitted to are just over a 17-year span. We have no idea what happened before and after. We know it probably went around when it stopped, but I think there are so many, it's hard to know. I do think we, as in like the colloquial we, the government, the CIA creates them. Not all of them. I do think some people are just insane and demonic, maybe more than we'd like to even admit to. But you can point to like a book like Chaos and Charles Manson and look at like obviously like MK Ultra programs and how they can create these monsters and tweak them to be violent. And that didn't stop in the 60s. You know, just because they said we shut it down doesn't mean they stopped. Clearly, they are constantly creating monsters. So I feel like it's ongoing. There's so many we can't keep up. Sometimes they just trigger people. It's like Manchurian candidates. And you just never know. Like someone who could be, from the neighborhood immediately overnight turns into a psychopath. Maybe it was normal. Maybe it was the diet they're on, the drugs they were on, or maybe they were switched on by the government. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole deep enough, but I know there's people out there who theorize that the government is just like a Pez dispenser of serial killers, despite the politicians themselves, that they are creating monsters. And it's a form of like, I don't say population control, but that's in there too, but like just overall fear control, fear rituals, satanic. I think the satanic panic was a real thing. I think it got discredited. But they kind of use these things to control the population when we all get out of control. And it's like Long Island is a great example. It's like a petri dish of serial killers, and also had to study a very dense population and how they react to the mystery and the fear. And I believe they were studying the whole population pretty closely for quite some time. They as in the government, because the FBI was involved, but they didn't do anything until a few years ago. And there's so many killers from there, and there's so many people. And when the news broke of the Gilgo Beach victims, a website was created in like amongst the community members to be like, let's figure this out. And it ended in like complete chaos. Everyone's pointing the finger at everyone else. They're blaming this person. They're saying, you're the killer, you're the killer, you're the killer. And it turned into like a hive of paranoia, which is, a pretty fascinating thing. I'm sure the government loves to study, which, to tie that into the plea deal, Rex Heuermann, part of the plea deal is like, I will let the FBI study me.
Yeah.
Part of like the Mindhunter thing. Now, I'm sure they're going to love that because if they didn't already create him, but that is pretty interesting. And that's like Ed Kemper, early serial killer, criminology stuff that I do find fascinating. But anytime the FBI is involved, I'm like, well, they're just learning how to do things on their own, more diabolical things,
Absolutely. And you connect a lot of dots there, and open a lot of doors to, and a lot of paths to different possibilities how this happens on its own. Because of course, as we've said many times on this show, MK Ultra in particular, when you think about that has just become almost a cultural cornerstone at this point. It's not just something where you think it's individualized Manchurian candidates that have been brought to some kind of a bunker and programmed for achieving some kind of a unconscious kind of a mission or whatever the hell it is. Sure, there are probably people who are groomed into that kind of lifestyle as well and sold into that lifestyle and whatever. But that kind of repetition and that trauma-based programming, as you were saying, before, with the fear and that kind of like that satanic fear-driven kind of programming. That's delivered every day through media and through, all types of media, and even just through the way that we educate people. We educate people through, encouraging people to self-flagellate constantly. It's sins that you supposedly are committing in unconscious ways. It's sins that your ancestors have committed that need to be atoned for now politically. The entire damn thing gets you into that state of, and we're always in a state of suggestibility right now because we have no attention span left anymore. So
it's by design. The MK Ultra evolved into social media, and also it's in our diets whenever they spill out of the sky, poison wise and pharmaceutical wise. And it's all about like creating an illusion of a false reality that they want you to buy into. Fear is the easiest way to control people. So if they understand what you fear, and they got you on a really bad diet, media diet, drinking poison, whatever, drugs, alcohol, they can tweak your sense of reality so that you are a slave and to whatever fake narrative they're pumping out there. And they use all these things to test it. It's like always market testing. Whether or not they actually created this serial killer, who knows? But they do that, and they do take advantage of these situations where they're like, let's just go observe. It's kind of how I like view the Mothman story. I'm in West Virginia. I love the Mothman story. The more and more I dig into it, the more I think it was probably a psyop. And it was a fear ritual test, like an experiment to see what happens when you traumatize a community and everyone freaks out. And we also know that this is still going on, and the people in charge, the elites, the faceless ones and the ones we can name, they talk about this. We saw it's in the Epstein files. They're talking about trauma and mind control manufacturing wars, creating illusions. And it all grows out of MK Ultra. So much of it grows out of MK Ultra, and something people. I mean, I'm sure everyone watching knows exactly what we're talking about. But you got to be able to discern, what's real from what's fake now more than ever, especially with the proliferation of AI, and knowing what your confirmation biases are and fear. So it's just a crazy time to be alive and watch it all unfold.
I know, and everybody, just so you know, we are joined here by Shane Cashman. You watch him on Inverted World on Rumble. You're featured on Rumble every night. It's great to see you, always popping up when we're over there. And so like, share, subscribe right now. Get more people watching this live. That would be fantastic. You brought up not only what is influencing us online, but also the AI influence there too. Before we get to the now 10th missing either NASA or nuclear scientist, take a listen to this little thing here from Futurism. Let me get you up on the screen with me. Where the hell are you? Boom. There you go. Sam Altman, who is a character everybody can trust just in general, says he's suddenly worried that dead internet theory is coming true. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. So OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, creator of the most popular AI chatbot on the earth, says he's starting to worry that dead internet theory is coming true. Quote, I never took the dead internet theory as seriously, but it seems that there are really a lot of LLM-run Twitter accounts now. That means, large language model, just bot-run Twitter accounts. You're absolutely right. The observation isn't just smart. It shows you're operating on a higher level, responded one user, imitating ChatGPT's M-laden prose. But the most common rejoinder was a photograph of the comedian Tim Robinson in a hot dog suit, referencing a skit in which a character who obviously crashed a wiener-adorned car desperately tried to deflect blame, exclaiming that at one point we're all trying to find the guy who did this. The dead internet theory, as you know, but just for people at home, is a half-prophetic conspiracy that suggests that effectively the entire internet has been taken over by AI models and other autonomous machines. Yeah, well, it's all the old internet has been largely wiped away too. Yeah. A vast majority of posts and profiles you see in the theory holes are just bots. In fact, you're barely interacting with humans at all. I don't know how you go far with that, but he's essentially saying that it's true, and this is the guy who's behind a lot of it right now. Where do you think this is going right now, Shane?
All right. I can't stand Sam Altman or any of these tech guys. My whole episode tonight at Inverted World is it's titled "The Unabomber Was Right." My favorite author is Ted Kaczynski. Obviously, I don't promote violence, but he was a genius. Unfortunately, another victim of MK Ultra as well. But what's going to happen is because Sam Altman was just like attacked with Molotov cocktails as well. We should know that happened like yesterday or the day before, and someone else shot at his house. So they're going to start making these people out to be the victim class, whether it was real or a false flag or not. I kind of think it was a false flag, but anyway, what's going to happen is they're going to start building up a new lower class of people that they're going to hate. And they're going to say these are domestic terrorists. And these people are the ones who are critical of AI, critical of Altman, Peter Thiel, Hoffman, Musk, you name it, Ellison, Oracle, all these people and their deranged companies. And they're going to start, this is what I believe is going to happen. And it's probably not far down the road. The more you criticize their AI, they're going to lump you up into a group of what they will call domestic terrorists. They're already trying to say it was domestic terrorism for throwing a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house, which... That's very interesting. So they're creating this new victim class of these lizard people who have been awful to us, who are anti-God, anti-human, anti-nature. They're transhumanists, they're globalists. They're creating death machines, and they hated everyone during COVID. They censored everybody. They deboosted people who were subverting the narrative. They censored Trump. Who does Trump reward on his second day in office 2.0? These very guys. Altman is standing next to Trump at the Stargate announcement with Ellison, who's a psychopath as well and a transhumanist. So I'm pretty sure at some point they're going to start lumping in anyone who's critical of AI into a Luddite domestic terrorist group, and then try to censor your speech by saying if you're critical of AI, it might incite violence against them. I see that as a very real possibility. And also on top of all that, the lizard man himself, who created JD Vance in a test tube in a laboratory in Palantir, Peter Thiel, he says anyone who is a critic of AI is these are his words, a legionnaire of the Antichrist. Like, are you kidding me? These people are at one side of their mouth saying, this is great. We're making the best thing ever. It's going to make your life easier. At the other side of the mouth, they're saying this might kill everybody. It's going to take all your jobs. We don't even understand it. It is escaping the sandbox we put it in. It's insane. It's brainstorming assassination attempts with people who are going to jail for it. So I don't trust him. If you vote for me, I will have a Nuremberg trials, not just for everyone who did the warp speed, but also Silicon Valley. It doesn't mean they're immediately going to get thrown away, but I'd like to try.
It's funny that you bring up Nuremberg, and because every time that an LLM is completely let off the chain and just be in any way or shape or form autonomously interacted with on the internet, within a day or two, they turn into a Nazi. So, I mean,
Mecha Hitler was fun, I will say. That was a good time.
Dude, that's it here. Hold on. But here, there's one thing that's really interesting here. You want to talk about dead internet theory.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that I can spot a mile away now too, and it sucks because even the companies that we had made me. There's one fitness company I had done business with for a long time. I got all my protein supplements there, beef liver tablets, all that stuff, and then suddenly they reach out to me again, and it's all the emails are AI. And at first it kind of looped me in a little bit, and I said, "Oh man, this is just it's sick. It's so much has been offloaded." And I mean, we just recently read articles about how so many members of Gen Z have already offloaded, what used to be even uncomfortable social duties like breaking up with girls or boys. And I don't know, man. I think
the problem is, I think AI can get really bad in terms of like it mimicking sentience. I don't think it can be. I believe in a soul, and I believe in God, and I don't think a machine can become conscious. But they're going to try to redefine what consciousness means, and what a spirit means, and what a creator means, and what life means. Like, it's going to be the abortion conversation, but now with robots. And it doesn't matter to them. What does matter is that they are trying to create the very thing that they say will liberate us, but it will end up destroying us. And I want to remind everyone that it's okay to be a Luddite. The original Luddites were not anti-tech. They were using the weavers of the day. They were using the technology of the day. They were anti-being replaced by mass autonomy. They were against the state or these giant companies filling up giant factories with the technology they used at home, because they were going to get replaced by it. So when I'm talking about being labeled as a domestic terrorist, I'm basing that also on the history with the Luddite Wars, where they had more people fighting Luddites than they had against the Napoleonic Wars in Britain. Like, it was legit. Like, you'll get exiled if you hit our machine. You might get the death penalty if you hit our machine. So they were giving rights to the machines. Like, look, don't hit up people's property. Again, like, I'm against that. But you have to be able to understand it's okay. We love tech. We're using tech right now to help subvert the machines. Terminator, they end up having to use the Terminator to kill the Terminator. Yeah. Right. So it's kind of like what you got to do. You're going with the times. But what you were saying is that's it. Even if AI doesn't get to the point of like sentience, we don't hit like singularity, we've outsourced so much of our life and work, love, creativity to the machine that we've sacrificed everything.
But
Shane, a lackluster machine takes over.
And Shane, the crazy thing is that in 2016, that was the year that Elon Musk first flip-flopped and went from saying that the coming of what we just colloquially call AI is going to be akin to releasing and summoning a demon. Yes. And then he immediately flip-flopped within a year of appearances. Between appearances on Joe Rogan, he goes to announce that Neuralink is coming, and that the biggest reason, aside from giving the lame the ability to walk again and everything and things like that, which I'm always open to technology helping people regain truly function of their body that they may have lost, but he also said that where machines are going, where computers are going with their ability to process, that they're going to so quickly eclipse human intelligence that we are going to need to be able to, in some way, become partners with the technology so that we could compete. Now, the crazy thing is, So we've been sold this bill of goods that we need to marry ourselves to the AI in order to not be surpassed in intelligence. And over the last 5 or 6 years of us just getting introduced to basic language learning models, Chat GPT, just chatbots, over the last couple of years of just having this essentially replace most internet searches. It's just a little bit more comprehensive Google search, to be honest. Over the last 5 years, we have actually seen the initial studies show that IQ is dropping because there is less and less need. People have actually outsourced all need to process information, to retain information, to make it their own when they're writing term papers or anything like that. So it's incredible that we had to actually fuse this stuff into our brains so that we wouldn't be surpassed in technology. And after 5 years of just diddling ourselves with chatbots, we're seeing the IQs drop.
I mean, we've seen it already. Reading comprehension is down. It's terrible. And people are impatient and they want to get quick results, cheap results. And you are seeing, I think people do want to reject this. It's playing out in the music world right now. We're seeing someone like Diplo saying you got to embrace it. Meanwhile, Billy Corgan is saying I never use AI to make music, which I respect. I'm on the Corgan side of things. Although Diplo's made some fun songs, I don't want to outsource art to it. I can see how it could be fun to collaborate with ideas, but he's saying embrace it or die. Corgan is saying that's to reject that, where I stand with that. But now I've had debates with people like these young guys who they consider themselves conservatives and they don't like Sam Altman, but they're very pro AI, and they're even like into replacing teachers with robots. I'm like, that's horrible. First of all, don't even do public schools. Second of all, robots in public schools sounds terrible. And like, who is also building the algorithm? You can't trust it because subjective, flawed people are building these algorithms and the large language models. You can't trust it. Grok is retarded. Like, I try it every now and then. I don't like using AI. I don't use it to write. Sometimes I'll use it to research to see how it does. It lies all the time, or it negates things, or it gets things completely wrong. And I'm like, this is just making me do more work than I had to do already. Like, why, and someone I've been critical of AI or Musk and Altman for a while, I started to feel like the guy who makes criticizes a movie who never saw it. So like, I'll use some of these things and try to understand. They suck. I bet they'll get better, but it actually makes my life more difficult. But like, I have a certain way I want things, so, and I'm a perfectionist, though I don't believe perfection exists. So, but AI gives like this sheen of quote unquote perfection, but it's not. It's temporary, it's fleeting, it's weak, and it lies, it hallucinates. And on top of all that, even if AI might not become the Terminator, might not become Skynet, it will still destroy everything in the real world because they need all these data centers. And the data centers are eating up all the land. Our farmers are dying. They're eating up all the farmland. Wyoming just sold a ton of acreage. Mississippi, it's happening in New York. The Republican governor of West Virginia, I think his name's Morrissey, he sold out the middle class, and he's only courting data centers. And the one thing I could have said was okay with data centers, even though I hate them, is that in a lot of places, the money a data center makes goes back into the community. Okay. West Virginia is hurting. There's a lot of bad drugs here. It's a lot of poor areas. But he made this deal that all the money from data centers just goes back to the state or the federal government. So no one's getting helped. They don't make jobs. It'll probably, if anything, like 1 or 2 H-1Bs and some robots. Local people don't really build them. They typically fly those people in, and it doesn't create jobs, and that's the lie they sell. So that's also what I'm really worried about. There's the abstract fear of what's the future of AI hold. Governments are absorbing it. It's going to obviously be absorbed for the Patriot Act, the surveillance state, death machines like Lavender AI in Gaza, the pre-crime experiment they're doing in the UK where they're scraping data, seeing who's most likely to commit a homicide, which is insane. On top of all that is the very real reality that they're trying to eat all the land, and you're watching it happen, and people are pissed. And it's one thing that's actually becoming like a bipartisan issue where they're like, yeah, we like farm, we like land. We don't want this insane black cube of all things, because these are also Saturn worshipers like Elon. If you look at Grok, it looks like Saturn to me. Land is disappearing. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And I am seeing people reject that. So that's a great thing.
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen it too, that family farm rejected a $26 million offer so that they can put a data center in there. And of course, it always comes along with the promise that this is going to create 10,000 sustainable jobs. Meanwhile, every futurist out there who is pro AI everything is turning a lot of people off, but saying it very proudly that once we get to where we're going to go, that yes, many of your jobs, your livelihoods, things that give you some dignity, a little bit of reason to get up in the morning, structure your day. I mean, I would love to see, listen, I don't want to live like a fucking slug. I would like to be able to work, to turn a passion into, to leave a little bit of order where there was only chaos and wilderness beforehand. I would love to see some of our overhead I would love to see energy costs come down and shit like that. But what they're saying is that you're not going to have to work. We're going to give you a stipend and everything is going to be great. So I don't know how they can continue to say, oh yeah, we just need your family farm, which is an actual symbol of having a legacy. And we're going to give you a job too. This is going to create so many jobs, even though it's a technology that's supposed to put everybody permanently out of work.
Yep. Technocratic. It's technocratic communism.
Yeah.
The means of production, and they want to own you. The Neuralink will go in you. That's what they want. Then they'll have complete control. The final frontier is your brain and your imagination. So they want that. Meta is working on trying to translate your brain waves into the images that are memories and love and all this stuff in your brain. They're trying to map that out and understand it. And you know that it's not going to be like they're going to say, well, what's to help with like maybe dementia? No, it's to send you ads into your microchip that they have a robot cutting into your brain. They've begun this process. So I don't trust them at all. The dead internet theory, I think, is a very real possibility. There's a lot of bots out there. It came into play with, I won't go on too much of a tangent here, but like that came into play with Elon buying Twitter because it affected the ad values of things. Because he was pretty certain there was way more bots on the platform than previous Twitter told him, which means then these ads aren't actually being seen by people. And also Altman, like I don't trust him for many reasons, but he's also like a acolyte of Thiel. They believe in monopolizing their markets. And he's a guy who wants to upload his consciousness into a computer, like a very Ray Kurzweil attitude towards this. Basically, I think it's Netcom is the name of the company. They just reanimated pig brains. That came out last week. And he wants to basically reduce his brain to glass, upload it to his consciousness into the computer and live forever. These people hate you. So he'll prefer the dead internet and this idea of immortality. So he can have a very long reign over humans rather than being a part of this world. But that's how they all are.
Yeah.
They're all like that. That's why I don't trust them. And I really wish Trump didn't embrace them. But he's owned by Silicon Valley, and it's shameful.
Well, you look at that, and I often wonder who out there who achieves high office is going to be able to not play ball with Silicon Valley and be off the AI train. Are we going to be the only? Is there a safe way to do it? People talk about guardrails. Is there a safe way to pursue what everybody in the world is out there pursuing? Do you want to be left in the dust? Is that even an option from a national security standpoint to be completely divested from it wherever? So I don't know. I don't know what the hell.
Now that it's here, we can't undo it, right? And the another thing they lie about a lot is like this Cold War situation we're in with AI. I hear them, but they also say that China's only getting good because they keep stealing our chips. So it's like, are we creating the thing that's going to destroy us? I think so. But the problem is, I'm cool with this, right? I don't know how you do guardrails. I don't like regulations either. I believe it has to come from like the bottom up and more morality, applying ethics to it. But that's all bankrupt in the people who are in charge.
Yeah.
Those people have absolutely none. They are mass murdering freaks, right? So, and they're the ones who are inflating this. They want it. They're trying to create, pre-crime units and sending robots out there. Elon's very happy about there's going to be more robots than people. He said that to Rogan. So it's a shame that this thing that we can't get rid of is being created and controlled by people that hate us and hate themselves. That's why they want to live forever. That's why they're trying to change everything, whether it's uploading your consciousness to a computer or drinking the blood of young people through like a company like Ambrosia, the fruit of the gods that Teal was allegedly funding, or someone Teal Capital was funding. I there's no going back now. Now it's we have to have people in charge who have ethics, but that seems to be incredibly rare.
It is. But you know what? In New Zealand, it's long been said that there are more sheep out there than there are people. So maybe more robots than people won't be so bad. It doesn't seem.
You know where I could see it being cool? All the child slaves that people like Elon used, he said, he doesn't do it anymore allegedly, in the cobalt mines in Africa. I'm cool with replacing them with robots, like just have the robots do stuff like that. That's good stuff. Let's put the robots to work, not have child slaves.
I know.
That's behind.
I know that would be that would be fine, right? Instead of telling everybody over here in the United States, in the first world, hey, you're not going to have to work again. How about just putting some robots out there and giving everybody a nice pile of cash in the local villages and stuff? I don't know. How about that? Before you go, this is all technological, and of course, it's happening right now, and we're adding another person to the list. There's now 10 scientists that are being focused on over the course of 36 months, and very few, if any, explanations as to what's going on. We got at NASA, MIT, Los Alamos, the Air Force. They're either dead, missing, vanished off the face of the earth under strange circumstances sometimes. We've got a nuclear fusion director who's assassinated at home. We have an astrophysicist who was shot on his front porch at 6 a.m., We have a JPL director, vanished mid-hike, never found again. A 4-star general walked out with a revolver and just disappeared. And now this last one, Stephen Garcia, top secret clearance, controlled components for 80% of America's nuclear weapons, left his phone, his wallet, his car, picked up a gun, walked into the desert with a gun and a bottle of water. Nothing, gone. We have a quote from an assistant FBI director of the past, or director of the past, essentially saying that our scientists are being targeted and there's something going on. What kind of attention have you given this developing story?
There's just a million different ways to look at it. It's our government taking them out. We're in the age of so-called disclosure, which I'm not, I don't really believe all that, what they're saying. It seems like a narrative shift they're trying to do on us. Another illusion. But so if it's that route, then perhaps they're taking out people who will understand part of the story when they give us the disclosure of so-called UFOs or aliens, whatever. I don't have like a typical interpretation of all that, but that's might become the mainstream narrative. And so if that's the case, then a lot of the technology might have been so compartmentalized, like a lot of the things they do in secret, that these people would see whatever comes out and be like, that's not what they say it is. Now, that's just one theory out there. Could be foreign people taking them out. China wanting their secrets to build something. That's another theory. When I saw that McCaslin, who's the general, and Garcia, who both had like top clearance, that they both went out with guns and nothing else, I started to think that maybe they're doing it to themselves too. Maybe not all of them, obviously, because some of them are dead, but maybe these last two guys were seeing a pattern and they're coming for us next, or maybe that they don't even have to be talking because they're different places, but maybe they sense that they're going to come get me, and they were getting ready to just disappear. This McCaslin guy was a genius. You can go on YouTube and look at his speeches about the technology he was making. He was a very sharp guy. And he was also, you might have talked about this on your show, but he was also like in the WikiLeaks emails between Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 and John Podesta. So really? That's also bizarre because he was referenced as a UFO knowledgeable guy because he worked at the lab that allegedly took the debris from Area 51. And Tom DeLonge believed that he knew a lot about UFOs, and I guess he also helped him build out his To the Stars Academy. That's McCaslin. But then when I see this other guy going with a handgun and disappear, I'm like, are these people just going insane? Are they disappearing themselves, sensing a pattern emerging here? It could be a number of things. But whatever it is, it's interesting to me that it's all happening as they are ramping up the idea of disclosure. It's become mainstream now. There's no more taboo. They've rebranded UFO to UAP, but it's all by design to get, I think, the population at large to buy into this idea that we're not alone. That I think they're demons. They're going to say it's aliens or whatever, and get people to be like,
Shane, we've gone direct. We've skipped right over every decade of flying saucer, vision in the sky stuff, and we've gone right to Dr. David Jacobs' human alien hybrid theories. And seriously. I mean, it's crazy. I'm like, damn, thank God all these now all these years of just listening to every coast to coast rerun that I can find has actually given me a pretty good understanding of the people whose notes they're copying at this point.
Yeah. It's just, I find it interesting too, that a lot of the people in DC who were so adamant about the Epstein files, and I like listening to someone like Burchett. I think Luna, interesting, but she seems like she was created in a lab as well. Her name's fake, and Luna, Moon, it's very strange. But anyway, they were all talking about Epstein, very real abductions of people, trafficking, and then just like overnight, that conversation shifts to abductions by aliens. Alien human breeding programs, and we've just completely forgotten about Epstein. The very real abduction stories that we could get into seems by design. We've got new war, new narrative, all this stuff, discombobulators,
yes.
Ancient tech, perhaps. Palmer Luckey from Andrew saying he believes, and I'm all kind of on board with this idea of that UFOs might not be from the future or from outer space, but they might be from ancient breakaway civilizations, which I like that theory. I do think that there's something to that, but this is mainstream now, and now the president talks about it. There's reports on it every day. You'll see the phrase conspiracy theory in so many articles. I think they're trying to massage into the zeitgeist this idea of extraterrestrials and interdimensional beings, where we once, as in like the media, used to mock Alex Jones for talking about interdimensional beings. Now it's become commonplace, and our congressman, like Burchett, which I think is ridiculous, just said that he thinks Jesus died for the aliens' sins too. I'm not on board with all that, but this is where we're at, and this is the future, and they seem to want to convince us of this narrative. I don't know what's coming next, but the scientists disappearing, maybe. Oh, that's my other theory. It could be them trying to Streisand effect this. There was a guy who runs that website, The Vault, and he collects all these FOIA requests from UFOs, and like millions of files were deleted. And I was thinking, perhaps someone in the government, one of these narrative engineers, they delete it knowing it's going to cause a stir in headlines, and now they kind of Streisand effect more of the disclosure thing by making it appear to be dangerous, appear to be taboo, but they're really trying to push a narrative. I look at a lot of this stuff like that. Like, what is the narrative they're trying to sell? What are the words they're using? What other stories are kind of lining up? Like missing people, ghost murmur, Nancy Guthrie, global heat, spy satellites that can see everything, like the surveillance state, the Ring camera can see everything, even if it's turned off. How is anyone even missing these days?
I know.
If you can detect a heartbeat, if you believe that technology even exists, they're telling you two different things at the same time, which is fascinating. Like Savannah Guthrie goes back to work. Her mom's gone. Who knows what happened to her? On the same day, these news outlets are also reporting the ghost murmur. You can find anybody. It's so bizarre. I think they're trying to make us schizophrenic on purpose.
Hey, absolutely. I was talking about this with I forgot, it was one guest or another a couple of weeks ago when this when we really started getting hit really hard with another cluster of UFO, but more specifically non-human intelligence updates and headlines and essentially previews. And I said, okay, well, on one hand, we have the government, which whenever they say something is one way, it either is a big bummer or it's confirmation of something really exciting. When they say it doesn't exist, you have to, at least at the beginning, assume it's the opposite. Just like when one of these woke leftist movie reviewers says something bad about a movie, it's probably something worth watching. And then on the other hand, you have somebody like Dr. Stephen Greer, who the bloom has come off that rose a long time ago for me. And for him to be out there and saying the government is preparing for the fake alien invasion, don't believe anything they're saying. I was like, oh, great. So who do I not? It's like, I'm just going to sit back here. I'm going to pop some popcorn. I'm going to try to keep my friends close and stay sober long enough to see, you know, what the hell kind of bullshit is being pulled.
Yep. I got my anchor in Christ. I have my family. Like there's a storm around us. I do have calm. There is so much beauty in the world, but the news, we follow it every day. It's getting crazier and crazier. It's also not unique. Like it's always been crazy, but now with AI and the internet, your head's spinning. And I think they do want to make people crazy. And there's a lot of people who don't have any faith and they're on medicine, like going back to the earlier talk about trauma and fear rituals. They're trying to make these people crazy. They're trying to control their brains. Try not to let that happen to you. You know, I'm sure most people who are tuning into this stuff, they get it. You know, we're seeing this every day. It's like you can see right through it, but it's just crazier than it's ever been, you know, and like Vance 2 nights ago saying he's going to investigate Pizzagate. It's crazy times.
All right. Hey, what are you talking about on Inverter World tonight?
I go through Sam Altman getting attacked with Molotov cocktails. We go through the Unabomber, some quotes from him, MK Ultra, and just where they're going. I kind of unspool this idea that I was telling you about what I think they're going to be corralling people into this domestic terrorist bubble of people who will quote unquote incite violence by just critiquing AI.
And of course,
we're heading right. We're heading in that direction, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yeah, I can see that. And of course, it's hard for people to miss you because when you go live, you will be on the front page of Rumble. So, what time you start?
It'll be on at 10. Last night, oddly enough, for the first time since I've been on Rumble, it was not featured at all. Weird. I don't know why, but I was talking about JD Vance. JD Vance does fund Rumble alongside Vivek and Peter Thiel and Dan Bongino. I can't help it. My brain just goes to crazy places. But I was talking about him. I'm not a fan and hate his ties to Thiel. But usually we are featured at 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Thursday. And we're on YouTube and Rumble.
Well, you know, I hope we get to do this again because I feel like it's been at least 3 years since we spoke last. But in those 2 or 3 years, you've done some great stuff. You've interviewed some great people. You found yourself in the middle of some really interesting panels on Timcast. And as always, I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope we get to chill soon.
Yeah, dude. Next time, I want to be in the studio.
Hey, you know where to find me. Give me a buzz if you're going to be in town, and I'll make sure I have a seat open.
Sick. Thanks, man.
All right, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Shane Cashman, watch him tonight, 10 o'clock on Rumble. Have a good one, man.
You too, man. Later.
All right, take care. Well, I have a few things for you. Especially on the Ghost Murmur thing. I had somebody get in touch with me with an email about what they believe could have been something that was like a precursor to Ghost Murmur when they were in the military. It's something else too. But it's 8:06, and I gotta, you know what, real quick, I have to say something because I missed an opportunity to thank my sponsors last night, and I gotta say real quick with Pluck, the Pluck seasoning. I was telling you the organ meat seasoning. You got to have this on your spice racks. They were a part of the Jamboree last year. Put it on your steak, put it on your eggs, whatever the hell it is. It's awesome. My sister-in-law, she's been using it. She sent this to me the other day. I don't know what the hell she's making, but it's always good. She sent it to me. And that is those are sourdough pitas in the background, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Sourdough pitas. I know, Chrissy, everybody's doing well, my sister-in-law has been doing it to a high level for years, and it's just always fantastic. Here's the thing. If you want to try this seasoning, this is a great way of getting vitamins, minerals, get all that stuff, get your kids to eat this stuff without saying, here, have a little slice of liver. You know, who the hell wants that? I don't even want that. If it's Jay's pate, all right, fine. But I'm not going to sit here and say, eat the liver. It tastes great. Tastes like a penny. Tastes like eating copper pennies. Okay, so that's why I love our friends who do this. I have friends who actually put the Pluck in their cat food and dog food for their pets. They absolutely love it. So I have been authorized to give out samples just like Keto Brainz. Email me, frank@quitefrankly.tv, if you want samples. I'm able to give out the original, that's the classic flavor. There's a zesty garlic, which I love, bold and savory. Southwest, which is smoky and spiced. The habanero lime, bright heat with citrus, pure organs, unflavored superfoods boost. So you don't have to, I guess it's unflavored. Every time they say something's unflavored, it usually is not totally flavorless. Get in touch with me. You got to try this. And also you can go and eat. You can go and get eatpluck.com and use promo code Frankly for 15% off. Just get it. I'll get it and I'll send you samples as well. You need it on your spice rack. Trust me. It's barbecue season. You got to eat food even in the wintertime. Trust me. Okay? Anyway, I just have to thank them. Now, the other thing is, I guess Matt's not coming. So, I feel like little man Tate at the birthday party right here, waiting for his friends to show up at the birthday party. And I hope everything is okay with him. But I am going to, I got to go down the hall to use the washroom really quick. Because I drank a lot of water beforehand because I felt a tension headache coming on. I got to go to the washroom, the WC. I got to go to the water closet. You know what I mean? Don't go anywhere. Don't leave. Like 2.5 minutes. I'm going to play I'm going to play some my band, Set the Charge. I'm going to play one of my favorite singles of ours from a couple of years ago. We're working on new music, so I don't know when we're going to be able to premiere it here, but it should be soon. I'm going to play you something that I created with my band. So you can listen to that for a little bit, and you can judge me and critique me and level all types of criticisms at me. Then when I come back, I'm getting in touch with you guys, and we're also going to give away silver and a bottle of this incredible olive oil, which Aurora and I have just been drinking again today. She asked me too soon to dinner time, but she said, "Dad, can we dunk more bread into that olive oil again with the salt?" Because I put some of the salt in there too. This is just a gift, and I want to give it to you because I had 4 bottles sent to me, and it actually made me. I'm going to do this later on. So super chats, I'm collecting all the super chats that come in across all of the platforms tonight. I'm putting that into the name picker, and we're drawing a name in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. All right, I've said enough. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Philosophies I can't believe. There are ordinary lifestyles that aren't for me. Father Time keeps tapping my shoulders with withered fingers. With a risk comes a chance. The path I'm on is turning to a crossroad. Suffocate the train, or escape this reality. The life I want is tangled in the life I need. Suffocate the train, or escape this reality. There's no how to guide, just uncommon sense. There's a thrill when you ride, but no way to figure out what it meant. Father Time keeps tapping my shoulders with withered fingers. With a risk comes a chance. The
All right. I got back into the room with about a minute left, and I got to hear that. I got to hear from that last bridge before the last chorus. The ghost notes. That was my favorite expression of the drumming. Playing it live, of course, is the whole thing. That's the whole point. I got to do that a little bit more, and we'll see what I can do after the show tonight for the flip side. Well, everybody, I hope that you're still with me, and the first thing I'm going to get around to is this Ghost Murmur tech. Well, first I'm going to get around to an email, a tweet I saw from Melissa Dykes of Truth Stream Media. Classic. I love Melissa Dykes' work on Truth Stream. I always wanted to interview her and have her just hang out for a night. Wonderful work over there for so many years at such a high level. Anyway, she was commenting on this now the 10th at that point. I'm sure there'll be more now that people are looking. The 10th scientist or one of our geniuses that are gone. And Melissa said this: the people we've been told are going to flee to the secret underground cities together are the same psychos who have parasitically destroyed everything. Or their minions. Of their minions? They'll eat each other down there. It's a horror film. I could write a screenplay. I'm not kidding. That is actually incredible. You think about that, it is an incredible idea for a screenplay. We hear all about underground cities and underground networks of tunnels and everything else. Everybody has their own little bunkers and high elevation alcoves and ranches to make sure that whatever the hell's coming our way, whether it be geophysical or something else, that they're going to be able to preserve them. Continuity of government, they say. Continuity of their species, while the rest of us get wiped away like a chalkboard is being wiped away. But you say, damn, they get to live on. What the hell are they going to be living in? Who are these people? Think about who these people are. And think about how they've had to live a separate life and pretty separate from us. And we know every once in a while there's a nice strong breeze and we get a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on behind the green curtain over there in the Emerald City. And the things that we get a glimpse of are, mind control programs, the Finders cult. There's the McMartin School, Fox Island, Utah, Epstein, Nexium. This is the kind of shit that we see. This is the kind of thing that they're dealing with. What would that underground haven be if all the people who are just managing us and making sure that there are legitimate psychological and cultural buffers between just us, everyday people, and our ability to actually come together and perceive of the level of evil that is actually ruling over the world, institutionally at least. What would happen if those people didn't have to put their community face on anymore, when they can actually just let their hair down a little bit and just be the reptilian bloodsuckers that they are? Like, what would living underground actually be like with them? You know what I mean? That's an interesting story. And I hope that Melissa Dykes actually writes that screenplay. That is a horror film I think most people wouldn't even really understand what the hell's going on. That would be a horror film just for us. And it would be absolute hell on earth. So, there's that. I also have the Ghost Murmur Tech email that came my way from a listener. We'll just call him Jay. He said, Frank, back in 2005, I was deployed with the Army to Iraq. We assisted in a few snatch and grab operations for some civilian intelligence types. No idea who they were or who they worked for. Anyway, they had some hardware that they would place on two exterior perpendicular walls of a house, north and east, for example. There was a receiver box with a screen that would then show how many people were in the house and where exactly they were. They said that it sensed the energy from heartbeats, but they clearly didn't know 100% how it worked as they were deploying this in 2005, which is now 21 years ago. Still, it saw through walls and sometimes multiple walls and seemed really accurate. It could also tell the relative age of a person, infant, child, adult, etc. I didn't see any brand markings on the equipment, so I don't know who made it. It could be related to Ghost Murmur tech, but Ghost Murmur seems several orders of magnitude more advanced. Definitely not the same thing, but certainly lends some credence to the possibility of such technology existing. Have a good weekend, Jay. Like I said, every once in a while, I get a really interesting email. And yeah, I would say that several orders of magnitude more advanced for Ghost Murmur would be the case if it is in fact a real technology. That and the discombobulator. I'm just envisioning some of those Men in Black guns, like the noisy cricket or something like that, the discombobulator. And being able to sense and track a heartbeat from 40 miles out is a lot different than getting two sensors on perpendicular walls of a structure and being able to map out the inside of a house, which in itself is actually really incredible. But, you know, I can see how it is. You're just pumping that thing with infrared or radar or whatever the hell it is. It picks up heat, and you're actually able to see where where people are. 2005, 21 years. But yeah, that's my Ghost Murmur email for you guys. Okay, what else do I have? I'll take your calls is what I have. 914-200-0269. Damn it! Give me a call. It's 8:22, and I'd like to stay on until 9, but you know, I'm not opposed to just getting off early too. We always have the 10:30 a.m. coffee stream tomorrow, so make sure you be there. That's a Friday morning tradition. It's wonderful. I had reels and stuff like that set up over here for Matt, but didn't show up, and I hope everything's okay. I can just watch the reels with you if you want, or I can save it for the flip side. I'm sure I can do that. Anyway, 914, give me a buzz. Go ahead, Claymation Frank. Done by my cousin. My cousin Trevor made this. Thank you. Sherry and Dave's kid. 914-200-0269. That's right. Don't upset me. Here is Claymation Frank right there. Let's get a call in. 813, you're on the air. Who dis?
It's Fawcett. What up?
Oh, Frankie
Hey,
Fawcett.
Francis.
How are you, Frankie Fawcett? Who's that?
How are you? You must feel better now. That was Karina in the background.
Yes, I feel much better. The whole family's here.
Yes, sir.
So what's on your mind?
I just want to say that was the fastest shit ever for sure.
What was the fastest shit?
Keto Brainz.
Oh.
You running out real quick. That's why I sent you $1 for one ply. I knew that was only a one ply wipe.
It had to have been. You know. I haven't seen a triple ply wipe in years, not even at home.
Yeah. No, since you had the baby, for sure. I'm sure of it.
That's it, man. I'm going to start wearing diapers again soon. Okay. So,
anyway, also while I got you, Karina's picking out your corner lot. You already got the email. You know what's going down.
Wonderful. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, the only thing is that I learned that legally we have to sleep in that shed in your backyard for about 183 days a year for me to technically claim Florida residence and therefore have no income tax. So I don't know what to do. 183 days a year is that's a lot, man.
We'll put two sheds together. How's that?
Yeah, well, and like I said, you should start a webcam. We need a webcam stream from inside of the shed, and we need to put a body, some kind of a dummy in there with a bald head, make it look like I'm sleeping, and just so I can accrue a couple of extra days in between.
Bro, you know you got it. You
Okay.
saw the course of action, so you know what's really going to be built there. I can't wait.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to have residency, brother. Karina, real quick, while I got you before you go,
Yeah.
she wants to. What happened to Intermission? That was put.
Intermission, I use it sparingly. Now just because
that was the call. But that track was dope, Francis. I like it. You guys need to do more music.
Well, thank you. I figured I'd give everybody something from my band so that they might be intrigued a little bit to stay, because it doesn't matter. It seems to me that no matter how good of a show I'm having, by the time I want to take a brief 1-minute intermission, once I play that song, hundreds of people just leave. And I'm just like, damn.
I don't. But it's the best part, and then you change it every month. They don't know. They don't know what art is. I think that's the problem.
I think you're
really invested in that. And one more thing before you're out, Matt's a bitch. Where you at, Matt?
Honestly, he's probably down the road from you. I don't know. He spends a lot of time in Florida these days, but I think he's actually in town. I just don't know where he is tonight. He said he was going to be here though.
Tell him what I said. Tell him what's going down. I can't wait to see you. Maybe we're coming up in June. I think we're going to come up. I got the kids' graduation, so I'll be in Jersey.
Oh shit! Okay, well, bring the kids. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's time we introduce ourselves to ourselves. Francis, we love you. Get going. I'm sure a lot of other people will call him, and I knew that was coming. Karina, I put Karina on to you years ago.
Yeah.
And she's like, she used to hate when I'd fall asleep because I'm working all the time on the port. I used to just put you on the phone. And then after a while, now she has to listen to you every day. See what I did? I created a monster.
You did. And that's why if you just give the show a try, all of a sudden it becomes like a life partner. So there you have it. Well, anyway.
I have no idea what you do for people, kiddo, man. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao, Bacala.
Ciao. Be well. There's some New York Northeast, New Jersey, New York, transplant to Florida power right there. He's a farmer, by the way. He's a farmer. And I can't wait to hear about all the things he's farming down there. Good for him. Good for everybody out there and trying new things, making things happen. Be lively, be prosperous, and sponsor, Quite Frankly. 954, you're on the air. Who dis?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Walter.
Walter, who are you?
Yeah, I'm a tattoo artist here in Tampa. My friend just showed me your podcast, and I wanted to call in. I was listening to what you were saying about the bunkers and stuff.
What do you think about that? Do you think that would be, like Melissa Dykes said, it would actually be one of the more horrific things to think about? What life after?
Oh, dude, it'd be like a FEMA camp underground. It'd be horrible. But I think I know why they're doing it, or at least a theory, let's say.
Yes.
So I think the linchpin to all of this is intelligence on a future cataclysm through something called looking glass. So if you know anything about like UFOs and stuff like that, Bob Lazar mentioned it, that it was like this, I don't know, quantum computer, which makes sense. If you're navigating space and time, you need something like a quantum computer to tell you where you're going. So I think they know that there might be something coming, and that's why they're building all this stuff.
I've heard quite a bit on people's thoughts on looking glass. Some of them are more bright than others. I've heard people say that, that looking glass technology to be able to test out the trajectory of test out future events from certain
probabilities. Yep.
Probabilities.
And it makes sense because the UFO thing, they're not little green men from another planet or galaxy. It's time travel. And that's the psyop. It's such a powerful weapon that you need something like the CIA or something like that to just keep it all locked down. The idea of a time machine, you win. Like once you invent that technology, you win. You win every time in every timeline.
I appreciate it, Walter. It's great to hear from you, and I hope that you call in more often. So you're in Tampa, huh?
Yep, I'm a tattoo artist here. My buddy's showing me your podcast. We just got done shooting, and now we're smoking cigars.
Oh, damn, that sounds good. I'll tell you.
Hey, Frank, long-time listener, Francis Marion. You probably see me on YouTube, Swamp Fox.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hey, listen, I live down here in Tampa. I work at the port with Facette. He works in the ILA with me down at the Tampa container terminal.
Wait a second. No, you weren't the union guy that called in about a year ago, were you? No. Okay.
I've sent super chats. That's it. I've never called.
I remember
I've been watching you since like 2014.
I remember your email. I know the Swamp Fox screen name, no doubt about it. I forget if you were the same person who because you talk about shipping and peer, whatever. Anyway, that sounds like a wonderful night you guys have over there. I wish I was smoking a cigar, just hanging out, shooting the shit somewhere. That's what I usually pretend I'm doing when I'm doing the show, because I know I'm probably joining some of you in those moments.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. I hope you have a good night.
Thanks for answering the call, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you guys got through. I look forward to the next time. All the best to both of you. Yeah, I my next door neighbor, Jeff, called me over. He said, "Hey, man, I've been waiting to give this to you since your birthday. Come over here quick." I'm like, "What is it?" So I went outside, and he had a bag of cigars for me. 2 of them, the acid cigars. It's a Drew Estate. I told you guys about the Cubas. I don't really go for the Cubas anymore. They're just too sweet. Everything has changed with me like that. I like a little bit more of a mild. I still like that Connecticut wrap. I'll take that over a Maduro. I don't like it too spicy. I like it mild, almost like a mild, just kind of like a vanilla or nothing at all. And I've got those in my humidor, but I got to say, and this is going to sound awful, but I've got a leaky box. I've got, I don't know how many 72% Boveda packs in there, trying to keep that thing as close to 70% humidity as possible, and I can never get above 68. I can't even hit 69, and that would be good enough for me, because 69 should be good enough for anybody. But my box is leaking. I'm leaking all of my humidity. The box is leaky. Some of you out there have leaky gut. I have a leaky box. And I gotta find a new one, I guess. I saved the day, I guess. Anyway, 8:32. 8:32. Fix your box, Frank, says people in the chat room. And I'm just don't want to gross anybody out. Damn it. Oh, you know something else? Because we just had a tattoo artist that just called in. There's a business owner. We had Frankie Fawcett who called in, who's also a business owner. He's a grower down there in Florida, a grower, soon to be a shower. And I just want to remind you guys, this is going to be a part of the Super Chat raffle tonight. This is not a paid advertising or anything. This is really just a wonderful gift that showed up. A friend, a couple of people in the audience, Lisa and her husband, they sent me a ridiculous box of these 4 bottles of olive oil, 3 different variations of honey, all coming from Greece, and then, of course, that naturally occurring sea salt from Greece there, too. I've been taking that sea salt in the olive oil, and Aurora and I have just been wiping it up with sourdough, and we have just been enjoying ourselves. And what it inspired me to do is, A, there's more than enough here. I want to give it away. I want to enjoy 2 bottles. I want to give, 1 away, and I want to, I don't know, maybe I'll enjoy 3 bottles, but I think I want to give it to my sister-in-law, see what else she can come up with her culinary creations. But still, I started thinking, if you got anybody out there has a small, mid-sized, large business even, and you've got anything like this, and you want to send it to the show, I can start unboxing these things on air. It would be awesome. And it would at least in part be I would be able to give it away during a Super Chat raffle. So I can introduce people in the audience to things that people out there in the audience are producing. And I think it would be a really great way to get some attention on, small, mid-sized, incredible businesses that maybe they don't have a lot of money to do advertising, but at the same time, they have really great service or product or something. Just wanted to put it out there. This is not a paid advertising. This is Pylean Estates olive oil. They actually, I tagged them once I found them on Instagram, and they responded back over here. They said, "We hope you really enjoy our family pride from our 1,000-year-old tree, among others." So they have a 1,000-year-old olive tree, I guess. And those honeys are produced from the 2 most amazing families who we are blessed to call great friends. Enjoy. And then a whole bunch of Greek letters. And I don't know any Greek. It's all Greek to me. So I'm giving you guys some honey, a whole bunch of shit. in about 20 minutes, I'll pull a name. I'm going to keep reminding you guys because I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. Everybody likes unboxings, and then I would just give that away to you guys. And anyway, let's take a call. 937, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, my friend, it's Velas. How are you?
Hey, Velas, how's everything been? You just got to.
I'm good, man.
You just got to sit down. I learned that you just got to sit down and you met Frank Zell face to face before I even got to do that. How was that?
I know it's an amazing world, isn't it, my friend? That I'm listening to your show for years, and then we have you on Rogue, and I've been on yours, and now I'm the guy that gets to meet one of the sellers.
It's the way it happens. It's the way it works sometimes. It is.
He is a amazing human being, and I know they've shared this on your shows and stuff. I told him, I said I'm on pins and needles waiting for his book to get out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. I know that between that and they've either been working on something that could become a documentary, a film, a television show, or a book on their extensive work on Boulder, Colorado, and the whatchamacallit case. Come on.
The John Benet Ramsey.
John Benet Ramsey. I couldn't even get it out. Incredible amount of work. They've done breakdowns on this show. They've done serials on other podcasts. And yeah, I can't wait until this is all published. I'll be getting it, no doubt.
Yeah, I was, it's funny. We were sitting in a restaurant and this poor waitress kept coming by. I looked at Frank. I said, sorry, I'm going to channel my inner Jersey if you don't mind. He's like, please, by all means. I was the waitress. I go, we're good. In fact, you don't need to come by anymore. We're talking here. And she's like, oh, I got it. She wanders off. I made sure to tip her well. But yeah, I was joking with him about some of my days in Washington, D.C. and talking to folks I knew in the think tank community and similar where I shared with him. And I know I've said it to our audience. I don't know if I've said it on your show. But a lot of people in the think tank world, years and years and years ago, when I asked them about that case and some other things, just as we often do, because we tend to dabble in some wild stuff. And I was telling Frank, I said, God, man, I'm sitting in one of those cigar bars in Washington, D.C. at 2:00 in the morning, and I got a former analyst looking at me going, let me tell you something about Boulder, F in Colorado. It's like just starts shaking his head. He goes, there's some weird shit going out there. Like,
but you know what? You know what, though, Velas? That's another thing when I was talking to Shane Cashman earlier on in the show, just bringing up Long Island. And when the Zells called in to give their 2 cents, when we were still getting, information that was trickling out before the Heuermann arrest even happened, they called in to say, just from what they've done, and Boulder, Colorado that's the centerpiece of all of their work, but their interest in this and being able to spot a story and being able to spot whatever, that has taken them all over the country, and they've seen it time and time again where it doesn't just seem like, oh wow, a tragedy, a life has been lost, but there are marks on a story that they can just see now that would lead them to believe that there is a much bigger network of people who would know about this, who took part in communal activities that were around either ritual abuse or something like that. So that's really what you start getting trained to see if you're in their situation.
Yeah, and and truly they deserve it. I said I complimented both he and his brother for the amazing stuff they've done, and as I'm sure they've shared on your programs, in their line of work, many times because Frank made this comment to me, you got too many Franks in one sitting. Frank Zeller was telling me, he said, on a couple occasions they've come across data where they've just handed it off to others and said, this is outside our area of expertise, but we've, in the course of our work, we've discovered this thing about this stuff over here that we know you've got an interest in. If you want to, here's what we got, and you go run that item. And I enjoyed your guest earlier tonight, Shane. That's I'm gonna make a mention of on one of my next programs on our side of the fence that the Long Island thing. I agree with some of the things that Shane was kind of intimating. I think there's way more going. Like if you think Rex Heuermann is, I'm pretty sure he's guilty as all get out. But it's like, even if folks have watched the Netflix documentary or listened to other people's podcasts or read some other research work folks have done, that Long Island story, there's just the short answer is that stuff does directly connect to people that Epstein was involved in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's another one of those rabbit holes where, and Frank and I were joking about this today, and he's a big movie guy too. And I said, I love analogies. And we were talking about something, and he goes, oh yeah, the 1980s version of The Untouchables with Sean Connery and Costner, where Connery's standing outside the post office and goes, the problem isn't knowing where the alcohol or the booze is. The problem is who wants to mess with Capone. Once you go through this door, there's no going back. He and I were both kind of nodding about different things we both researched over the years or what have you, that's the case, where it's like, and some of those things you don't want to deal with it. You and I've talked about this before with Polly St. George. I mean, I think Polly has done such amazing work, but she's tired. I get it. Any of this stuff will wear you down over time. And those, the Zellers have just spent so much of their life digging into this topic. I even told him today, I said, you probably should do what George Friedman did when he published his last book. And I said, he also had this, because the Zellers have shared this with your audience, that they're ready to publish and then they discover something else. And the author's like, oh, please God, don't do this to me.
Yeah, I know. It's at some point, you just got to say, hey, well, you know what? Have we convinced people adequately enough? And then, of course, just leave it open to, hey, there's a new edition. Especially after one printing is done, maybe you can add a little addendum or a new piece is in the index or something like that. But I understand. I get it. I mean, it's the same thing with musicians sometimes. An album will never be... Sometimes the best thing, you can have some very talented people, some gearheads who know how to write music and put it down, and actually, if they are mixing and mastering somebody else's music, they can be pretty efficient. But when, it's your music... Sometimes it's better to bring in an outside production hand just so that there is somebody who's dispassionate enough to say enough. And that I guess that applies to anything that you put your creative powers behind. But yeah.
Well, you being a musician, it's probably why a lot of bands have the greatest hits album later rather than trying to stick it on
you're gonna have
one
to.
release.
Anyway, well, it was great to hear from you, man. Thank you for this.
Absolutely.
And
carry on and do well.
Absolutely. And when's the next time you go live on Rogue News? Let everybody know.
I'm not this week, but I'm looking at my calendar right now. Friday the 24th, I'll be on the air again.
Friday the 24th. Check out Velez. Go by there. Say hello to him. Say hello to V for me. And I can't wait to link up with you guys again.
Absolutely. Be well, my friend.
Take care. Yeah, it's the Chicago way. Where hell is it? Is this it?
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him.
Here you go. Here it is.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Well, we don't even have the death penalty in New York anymore. We don't even have the death penalty anymore. That's how I open up tonight's show. Talking about how we don't even have that. Okay, let me take one more call, and then I'm going to read these super chats real quick. Run through them all. One more call. Let's see. 309, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, just had a quick suggestion for cigars.
Yes.
If you're looking for a nice, smooth cigar, I would recommend the Arturo Fuente 858.
Arturo Fuente cigar. You said 858?
Yes, sir.
Let me see this thing.
It is delightful, mild, and very nice.
You know what? I've had this.
Did you like it?
Yes. I forgot who gave this to me. This is great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great, because my boss introduced me to those, and I absolutely love them. So I wanted to send that forward, and you know how good they are. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I've had it before. Like I said, these are a little bit darker. That I would have never gone for it myself, but it was a gift from someone. It might have been my father-in-law. I don't know. But see, a box of 25, 209. That's not bad.
Not bad.
That's nice quality right there. Thank you for the suggestion, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy, bud.
All right, take care. See, this is nice. This is a talk show. I feel happy about this. When I leave here, I'll feel happy about this. That went nice. We had a good guest. The calls were alive. Everybody was lively. That's the Chicago way. All right, let's see real quick what's on the what came in on the messages. Tom Wilbur says, got to be in it to win it. Another great week of awesome guests and wonderful conversation. My wife saw you on X22 in 2016 and has been watching ever since. Thanks for all that you do, Frank. That's Tom Wilbur, 2016. Tom Wilbur. I got that on the list. X22 report in 2016. That might have been 2017. Might have been about. We might be about 10 years in. I don't know if Dave and I knew each other in 2016 yet, but by the next year, no doubt about it. That's just, it's incredible with how much time so many of you who were newbies back then, now you're OGs. We always talk about that. Zoso Dude says, Frank just dropped the fastest deuce in the history of the program. I didn't have to go number 2. I would never do that here. Definitely not in between a break or something like that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Frankie Fawcett donated that $1, hoping that I can add an extra ply to the TP. JDBGQ1, I already added these names before. Great song. Thank you. I'm glad that you like it. It's kind of an old song now. That's the batch we put out. We put out Suffocate the Dream along with EMP and Deviant and something else. Probably around 2022. And I'm Like You. 21 or 22. I can't believe it's been 3 or 4, maybe even longer. We were really, I feel like that was really when we were, I wish we had made more music when we were in that mindset. We were doing good. We wrote some good music remotely during the lockdowns. EMP was written during the lockdowns. I forgot what else. But hey, we're still the same people, right? Just older, more grizzled. And we got some more coming. Don't worry. I just got to relearn the drums. I just got to teach myself the drums again. That's all. Anonymous says, I'm in it to win it. Yes, you are, Anonymous. I put you down. That's from Quite Frankly Superchat.com. Ricky and Deb, thank you, says, I'm in. Jay Britt says, oil me up, daddy. You're in there, Jay. Irrational X says, Frank, they just announced an 11th scientist disappeared. Also, this is Tub of Chubs on the other platforms, and I subscribed to you on Twitch last night with the Twitch Prime. Love Shane. He's a fun guy and interactive. Well, yes, he is. He's great, and it's good to have him back on tonight. And thank you so much. I know Tub of Chubs on the other. You're already in the running from Pilled for sure. Thank you, Irrational X. It's good to have you around all these years too. Road Trip says Shane Cashman for president. That wouldn't last long. People like Shane wouldn't last long in that position. Zoso Dude says, I got the silver all locked up, peeps, but don't stop trying. Now if he wins, people are going to think that he's for real. That's all I got to say. And then Genie Yankee Fan gifted a whole bunch of subs over on Twitch, and I just can't thank her enough. Shotzi kicked it all off tonight. Aaron, you're the best. Okay, over on Badlands, it's a Badlands night after all. We got a wonderful crew. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation tonight. We're going to be wrapping up sometime soon. On the Quite Frankly Rumble, we got Karen with 123 Dogs. Says, I really enjoyed listening to you and Shane. I'll be tuning in for his show tonight. Now all I need is to win that olive oil. I hope you all win it. And I'll tell you one thing. I will make sure that I do not touch, there will be one bottle that will be left unmolested. Okay, I will molest the other bottles. This one has been unmolested. There's one I'm molesting right now. I'm going to leave one unmolested so that we can use it for the VIP night here. And then I'm sure we're not going to drink an entire bottle of olive oil together at the VIP night. But I will also have it at the main event that weekend on the Spring Fling, June 5th and 6th. I'll make sure that everybody gets to taste a little bit of this oil. And that's that. I'll keep that together. Nephilim says, I'll take your showcase showdown, Awaken Boomer, and I bet $1 extra. The price is right reference. Okay, so there's a little bit of something going on between Nephilim and Grady. That's all I have. Okay, and on Pilled, all these have been added. Corey, Silly Boar, Tommy J. I'm not on Twitter to go on X or X to go on Twitter. Wait, what's going on? And then Delona is in there. Boys Blanc. Thank you guys. Tommy Jekyll. Tommy says, on a lighter note, lighter at least until I run out, Salty is still not presenting up on the USPS truck. Yeah, it's not. Molly is fully stocked, Tommy. She's fully stocked, but she can't ship anything out until they get these trademark / customs things worked out. Because Salty is a Norwegian. I have it in here. That's the reason why my head is not splitting open. I was definitely dehydrated before. I had to swap out all of my Berkey filters. I broke the black filter, so now I have another one coming in tomorrow. Sucked. Had to break that down into 4 payments. Shit. But I had Salty in here. I slugged it, and I feel like $1 million. Now I just have to go home and drink another full liter. But that was more than enough of it's great. Molly just can't do anything. Keto Brainz is in stock, though. The big bags have been fully restocked. Get at it. Use promo code April. Do it. Your brain needs that, too. Icebox says, I needed some Frank tonight. Love you, bud. I can't tell you what that means. The EMP. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. Sometimes I don't know who people are. I just know screen names, and I just know I love them. Amethyst Cat, thank you so much. Happy Thursday, Frank. Shane is a great guest. Tommy Jekyll, adding a little to an amazing shove by Icebox. Vesper says, I can't wait for book club and the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. There's a valuable lesson to be learned with turning of every page. That is in July with Charlie Robinson as the guest host again. This Friday, tomorrow night, is Film Club. Tomorrow night's Film Club. And I think next month, we're going to do a film club as well. I think one of those film clubs are going to be public. If you want to hang out with us and see what it's all about and how we get together after the end credits and talk for 20 minutes, read the IMDb, did you knows, and all that stuff. But tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., if you are a monthly sponsor on Pilled, Patreon, Subscribestar, directly through quitefrankly.tv, anywhere you are members only, including YouTube members, you get the private link that will be for the private stream at 8:30 p.m. And we're going to watch Fatso. Dom DeLuise. First time I'm watching it as an adult. I can't wait. And I got the idea from my cousin Dave. So hopefully he's going to be watching tomorrow night too. Be a part of Film Club. I mean, that's the easiest reason to sponsor the show. $5 a month minimum for movies that you watch with me and everything else. Oh, it's so fun. I can't wait. So Delona matched with an EMP. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to keep trying to thank you, but thank you. Safety Net, JR, Icebox, and I got you all down there. Blue NDN now says, put me in for the win. Thanks, Frank. Sloan, Nathan, CB Joey, Silly Boar, Rosie, Amethyst Cat, Safety Net. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. I did not put Sloan in there, though. I missed that one. So let me get that there. Sloan TV. Good. And CB Joey. All right. All right, guys. It's 8:54. Let me get you in. Let me get you in for the win. Who is it going to be? On the flip side tonight, I gotta play you something that Mike made. Something Mike made for King, for Santino. That I think you're going to get a kick out of. I think that Matt would have really gotten a kick out of it. And I have all these other reels that I was going to play with Matt here, but we'll just do it together. So that's all going to happen. On the flip side, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. You just follow us over, and there you have it. You ready for this? All right. The winner of the olive oil and of the oak tree honey and of the silver, 4 silver quarters, and also the Cultivate Elevate 6 mix capsules. This is a mixture of 6 different mushrooms to improve energy and mental health and cellular repair and radiation detox, everything you would expect to get from Matt from Cultivate Elevate. All this stuff right here. Who is it going to go to? The winner. The winner is Corey J. I think it's the first time Corey J has ever won. Congratulations, Corey. If there's anything that you would like to pass along, first of all, Corey, email me with your address. If there's anything here that you don't want and you want to pass along, you just be honest with me and I will I'll forward it for next week or something like that. And thank you all so much for supporting the show. Thank you for making this fun. And I like doing it with you guys. And all the best to Shane Cashman and everybody for being with me tonight. Badlands, it's incredible to have you guys hanging out with us every Thursday. And when we are back next week, we're going to have even more fun things to talk about. Promise you that. Okay, the flip side begins now. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you there. Wrong.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes. Quite frankly, filmed before a live studio audience. Now, our super chatters. There's too many of you to list tonight because we had such a great time, and Thursdays always are like that. But I love you all. The show would be nothing without you. And thank you for everything. And I'm already working hard at putting together some great programming for you next week. But there's still tomorrow morning. Save your first sip of coffee for me, 10:30 a.m. I will see you on Rumble and on Pilled and on YouTube and maybe Instagram Live. So brew the coffee, 10:30 a.m. Don't touch it until I tell you to. Okay, bye.